silence.
1 minute silence for the judges to mark the ballots. The second contestant, Stanley John Matthew, How to Live Forever. How to Live Forever, Stanley John Matthew.
Robert Winthrop. Robert Winthrop stood before the crowd. The crowd was silent. Robert Winthrop was moving towards the statue and he was going on way. And as he stood there, the crowd was silent beyond any knowledge. And then Robert Winthrop puts the sheet slowly. And as the sheet falls down, Robert Winthrop fills his lungs with air. And he says in a loud voice, "Lift up your heads and look at the image of a man who owned nothing, who had nothing to offer to the world as he was born, who had no advantage of an early education, who had performed the most menial of tasks in the jobs he was employed in, but who lived to stand before kings and died to leave a name that the world will never forget." Understand, panel of judges. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I bring before you Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin, a name that the world will never forget. Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin died in 1790. Before he died, he had performed some of the most miraculous things that the world has seen. He was one of the few founding fathers of America. He also was a scientist. He found out electricity. He found out the concepts of refrigeration. He was the first man to write about chess. He found out the urinary catheter. He actually made it. A man of such varied skills. A politician, a diplomat, a scientist, and a lot more. He was also the first person to find Gulf Stream. Imagine. Such contrast in one man. And he died in 1790. But he is remembered today. Where is he remembered? Well, let's go to America and let's take $100 bill. And what do we see there? We see Benjamin Franklin. His legacy lives on. He is dead and gone. 1790 is dead and gone. But on every $100 bill, Benjamin Franklin exists. What about for us? Mahatma Gandhi on every 100. You know, legacies do not cease. Now let's go to Hollywood. Hollywood has a street called Hollywood Boulevard Street. And on the Hollywood Boulevard Street, what do we see? On the sidewalks of Hollywood Boulevard Streets, we see 5 pointed stars. What are these 5 pointed stars representing? They are representing artists. They are representing entertainers. These 5 pointed stars who are representing entertainers, singers, all these people, they are dead and gone. But those stars remain. Those stars remain. Frank Sinatra remains. His legacy lives on and on and on. What about in UK? We have Westminster Abbey, where Sir Isaac Newton still lies, where Sir William Shakespeare still lies, Thomas Hardy still lies on Westminster Abbey's floor. All these people lie there, resting. Why? They're leaving behind a legacy that no man can forget. Any man who goes to Westminster Abbey sees these names and they will remain forever. They're etched on the walls and on the floors of Westminster Abbey. Legacies don't die. Why are they so special? On January 30th of 2007, my dad passed away. I had not even passed from college, and my dad passed away. My world crumbled. My world crumbled, and I couldn't fathom how could this happen to me at such a tender age when I'm not even past college and not going to work? How could this happen? How could this happen? And then weeks passed by, months passed by, years passed by. And then I realized that a man can live forever and ever and ever and ever and ever by leaving behind a legacy. By leaving behind a legacy, a man can live forever. That's infamy. That's infamy. You cannot be forgotten if you have left behind a legacy. I'll tell you how my dad left behind a legacy. This is a racket. My dad passed away in 2007. On 2003, he had a stroke which left him semi-paralyzed. His hands were fragile, his fingers but insensitive. He couldn't sign documents any longer, so he quit his job, came and settled as a retired person. His feet would give up on him in an instant. His knees would slip, and as he eats food would trickle down his chin, and he wouldn't even notice. The man was semi-paralyzed. That was my dad. And then one fine day, he decided to play against me on a game of badminton. And so, I thought, well, here is my dad. I'm going to beat him fair and square. 21 love, 11 love, you name the score, I beat you. My dad is a fragile man, I can beat him. And then he started getting very inventive. I shot the shots, he would drop the shots, and I would struggle to reach it. Because his hands were fragile, he couldn't swing, but he would drop the shots, and I was so very badly struggling. My dad has left behind a legacy. This racket is not merely a racket. Its company, Pioneer Warren, don't exist anymore. Its owner, my dad, doesn't exist anymore. This bat exists. But what does the bat show? It shows vigor, it shows enthusiasm, it shows a legacy of a man who would stop at nothing. No matter what happened, he would still fight on and still defeat his adversaries. My dad left behind a legacy, like this racket. This tie that I wear is my dad's. A lot of things that I use daily is my dad's. How special it is. How do you leave behind a legacy in your life? There are three pillars. There's love, trust, respect. If you leave these three pillars in your life, when you die, a legacy is born. A legacy lives on. A legacy survives the time forever and ever. Your generation, your children's children will talk about your father, your wife, your husband, if they left behind a legacy by love, trust, respect. Love, trust, respect. My dad left behind a legacy, and I know the difference. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, if a man is to be called a street sweeper, let him sweep the streets as Michelangelo painted, William Shakespeare composed poetry, or as Beethoven wrote his beautiful lines of music. He will sweep the streets, and heaven's host and earth's host will shout in unison, here lived a man, but he did his job well. May you do your job well in wherever you are put it. May you leave behind love, trust, respect in your business, in your family, wherever you are involved in. Leave behind a legacy, because that survives long after you're gone. It will survive, it will live on. I leave it on.